Let's take a look at solving systems of linear equations with two equations, two variables by matrices. And let's take a look at this problem here. We got 8x plus 2y is equal to 3. And 7x minus y is equal to 2. Now, in order for this method to work, you have to have everything with a variable on the left side and your numbers, your constant terms on the right side. And see how the x's are lined up in the same column and the y's are lined up in the same column. We're going to write down a matrix that goes along with that. A matrix is just a rectangular array of numbers. We're going to drop the x's, y's, and equals and keep the numbers in their signs. So we got 8, 2, 3, and 7, -1, 2. Now this matrix has a size to it. It's rows by columns. So it's rows by columns. And this one has 2 rows and it has 3 columns. So it'll be a 2 by 3. You cannot screw that up. And I'll show you why. Okay, so I'm going to go into my matrix menu. You see this button looks like x to -1. That's actually the inverse button, but we'll refer to it as x to -1. We'll do second x to -1. And you may or may not see numbers here. Don't really stress out if you see any. And we want to go over to edit. So I'm going to right arrow twice to go over to edit. And we're going to put it in A. So we do enter on A. Now it's asking us for the size of our matrix. So we'll put in rows by columns. So you do 2, enter, 3, enter. Now see our matrix on the screen looks like what we're trying to input. If I did an up arrow, went up here, and I put 3 by 2. Notice our matrix doesn't look anything like what we're trying to work with. So I'll do an up arrow again and put that back to what it was, 2 by 3. That's why you say you can't screw up on the size of it, because it'll be obvious what you wrote on your paper does not match the calculator. Now we're going to type in each number, pressing enter after each one. So do 8, enter, 2, enter, 3, enter, 7, enter, -1, enter, and 2, enter. Now as you press enter, it saves that entry and then goes on to the next cell. If you screw up any of these numbers, you can use your arrow keys to go back to whichever one you messed up on, and you can type in a new number. Now after you get to your matrix input, then you want to do a second mode to exit out. Now we're going to go through and do a function called RRAF. That stands for Reduced Row Echelon Form. So I'm going to go to back in my matrix menu, second x to -1, right arrow to math, and up arrow is probably the fastest way to get to it, but you can also down arrow over and over. But we want to get to the function that says RREF. Do not choose the one with one R, it won't work. So once I get there and got it highlighted, I'll press enter one time. Then I'll go back in my matrix menu, so I do second x to -1, and we're under names now, and I want to do enter on A, because that's where I put my numbers at. And then I'll press enter again. Now, notice that this particular time, I have decimals here. We don't want decimals. But before I look at that, see how there's 3 little dots over here? That means there's more to the right. So if I press my right arrow key, I can scroll over. And then you see there's dots over here. So I can press my left arrow key and scroll back. Whenever you get decimals, you always want to change them into fraction by doing math, enter, enter. So I do math, enter, enter. Then we end up with 107 over 22, 0, 1, 5 over 22. RREF, Reduced Row Echelon Form. That says you have a diagonal of 1s, 0s below it, and 0s above the 1s. So this first 2 by 2 square should be a diagonal 1 zeros or else. That tells you it worked. And if it worked, then this value right here is your x, and this value right here is your y. So our answer for this problem will be 7 over 22, comma, 5 over 22. I don't remember making this nasty. I expect I just made numbers up, but let me just double check that real quick. That's 56 plus 10, 66 over 22 is 3. Let's see, what's that? 49 minus 5, 44 over 22, which is 2. Okay, it checks. I just didn't remember making a nasty to begin with. But that's how you can solve any of these with two equations, two variables. Just have to make sure you get all the x's and y's on one side, lined up column-wise like this, and numbers on the other side. And that's solving system of equations, two variables by matrices on T84+.